In March 2020, many universities around the country quickly transitioned to online learning to try and keep their students safe from COVID-19, otherwise known as the coronavirus. Northeastern University made the official call to transition to online learning on Wednesday, March 11th. Then, only 3 days later, on Saturday, March 14th, students were asked to leave campus by the coming Tuesday, only 3 days later. As both students and faculty had to transition to online learning, many pros and cons were discovered.
I didn't have any live in-person classes I had to be at.
My classes didn't, as I said, they stopped having lectures, so there was no specific meeting time. Only one of my classes had mandatory meetings over Zoom. The rest, it was just on our own. The professor would upload his material, so any PowerPoints, recorded lectures, and things like that on Zoom and on Blackboard.
With the lectures, like you got a lot of the info that you would get in class, but you weren't able to ask the same questions and like have the same conversation with like your professor like while you're learning it. So like a lot of it had to be pretty much like learned like on our own. So it was a lot tougher for us to, I guess, get a grasp on the much like more difficult topics we're getting from online. It's just not the same as in classroom. And there's so many things like on campus, so many things that we experience. Like all the different events and such that we don't get at home too. So it just doesn't make sense to pay the same for an online education that's inferior and doesn't have all the on-campus experiences to pay the same rate as we would like on campus in Boston. It just doesn't make sense to me.
The only thing that I would have like wanted was a longer period between when they announced that classes were going to go online and like resuming classes. Because I know they announced class was going to go online on a day of the week, and then the very next day we were supposed to attend those online classes. I would have wanted the rest of the week to be free, just like settle in, head back home, just organize what we were supposed to do, and then maybe start up next week with classes and resume that.
But as far as prep, it was kind of online now, and here are some online tutorials you can watch, and I had to learn how to work Zoom or figure out which platform on Blackboard worked best. I had to, it was kind of everybody for themselves in a way in the spring, and faculty would send group emails saying, hey, I tried this worked. Or before Zoom was added to Northeastern's array of tools, I had heard about it from another faculty member who said, I just got an account with Zoom, you should use Zoom. And we were all trying to figure it all out collectively, and we would communicate collectively.
But yeah, I felt like a lot of the exams were just hard in general. It could have also been like because the learning was not as effective as it usually was. It was harder to grasp information, making the exams feel harder as well.
I think online testing is inherently easier than like testing in person.
One exam, I had a lockdown browser, so the program like would make sure that you stayed on like the exam screen on your computer, and also had like software that would like detect like where you were looking, because you had to have your camera on, and it would show it would flag like different events where you could like maybe perhaps be cheating or looking like off the screen and stuff like that.
It was a little chaotic, but we got through it, and I think that what we learned collectively is going to help us transition into the fall, hopefully.
Unfortunately, unlike what universities were expecting when they shut down in the spring, cases of COVID-19 are not falling, and university classes cannot go back to the way they were in the fall. Northeastern developed the program NUFlex to try and bridge online learning and in-person education. NUFlex was developed as a flexible learning method so that students could both be in the classroom and learn online. As said during a town hall about NUFlex on June 16th, all classes will be held real-time with classrooms at half capacity, and students who aren't physically present will be participating virtually. This program was intended to keep students who may have not wanted a full online environment again to continue in the fall and not have to take a leave of absence like many students wanted to do.
I'm actually considering a gap semester as well. Just because I live so far away from campus, I necessarily wouldn't want to waste a semester, especially if I have to pay full tuition. I wouldn't want to waste that on an on-campus semester where some lectures would have to be online, where I wouldn't have access to all of campus resources, where the living situation is completely being changed up. And I just think that it's a lot more beneficial for me, for my education, for my parents that are paying my tuition, if I took a gap semester until everything's cooled down and we can return to on-campus living the way that we're supposed to.
Goes online at the same tuition as like a normal like in-person semester, I think I would personally take a gap semester because I don't feel like it's worth the cost paying the same. I mean, paying the same, but not getting all the same like features and like add-ons that you get with being on campus, like gym access and all the different like seminars.
While there has not been a lot of information given to students about all the logistics of NUFlex, professors are still mostly in the dark on how all the technology and the planning of the courses will work.
A lot of the details have not been worked out. For example, one of the key aspects to have this work, the way that you can make sure that it can be that flexible for students who are not physically in the classroom, is that they're saying we're going to be having live recordings of a class where the camera's going to follow the speaker, either the faculty member or the student speaking. I still don't know how that will work. And when I know how that will work, I'll feel more confident about the fall. But obviously they can't tell us how it's going to work until they figure that out. And I have been hesitant to plan my syllabi yet because I'm still waiting to figure out how this is going to work.
According to a town hall on July 28th, Northeastern faculty have until mid-August to decide if they will teach in the classroom or teach completely remotely.
There's so much that has to be decided this summer that on the university's part, that we're just kind of waiting, like the faculty are waiting to see how is this going to work, and do I need to develop a class that is in its delivery hybrid. The challenge, because we've never done anything like that before. I don't know yet what kind of technologies they've put into those classrooms yet. So the university, I think, has this idea, which sounds like it could potentially work, but they have to actually implement it, and they're doing that over the summer. So that I will be there with my mask, and I will hope, provided that there's no explosion in cases in Boston or in the general area, hope that it's safe. I know that a number of faculty members are leery about this. They're concerned because if you look at a map on CNN right now of the spread of COVID cases and where states where the cases are going up and where they're going down, almost the entire map of the country is in some form of increased COVID cases. What that will be like in September, I don't know.
While much may not be known about NUFlex until students and faculty actually begin using the program, NUFlex will forever change how students learn at Northeastern. I'm Ilana Gersten with NUTV News. Don't forget to subscribe.